So, Sophie Cunningham blasted me the other day over what I said about Caitlin Clark. I guess Sophie has blasted a lot of people on her new Show Me Something podcast. She says the WNBA has fined her.
So, Sophie Cunningham, a player for the Indiana Fever. Now, the enforcer for the Indiana Fever, and something she is seemingly happy with the tag of, and is saying so herself, lads.
After each of her first three podcasts. Wow. She says that proudly. So now, before I respond to Sophie's criticism, allow me...
She's out here basically implying that herself. So, first of all, I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for being the enforcer that the Indiana Fever have needed. I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for being that enforcer, first of all. Second of all,
Sophie Cunningham just admitted she's now 3 for 3 on WNBA fines. But here's the twist. It's not about what she's saying. It's about the league not wanting you to hear it. From a $500 TikTok lip sync to an undisclosed penalty for mentioning Paige Buecher's getting favorable calls, this pattern feels less like discipline and more like control. So what's the real story here? And why is the league panicking while Caitlin Clark is dominating headlines? Let's break down why Cunningham's honesty might be more dangerous to the WNBA than any opponent on the court. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Imagine this. You're not getting fined for a flagrant foul.
To compliment Sophie, just remember, in her first 6 years in the WNBA playing for Phoenix, nobody outside of Phoenix knew who she was. Very few.
On behalf of myself, every single person in social media covers women's basketball. Heck, every single person that covers basketball on social media, I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for making sure our bills get paid.
She had been the first pick in the second round. She was no more than a part-time starter in Phoenix, and she averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist.
And yeah, it is crazy that we're nearly at 51. We've nearly gained 1,000 subscribers a day. So I want to thank Sophie Cunningham for that. And just like the Cheryl Swoop situation,
you're not getting fined for walking out on your team, but instead for posting a quick TikTok where you lip sync to a sound clip. That's what Sophie Cunningham says happened to her, and it cost her $500. Think about how small that clip was in the scope of her career. It wasn't a rant, it wasn't even her voice. Yet that tiny, forgettable moment became the starting point of something way bigger. The league treated it like a violation, but the real story people are seeing is that it looks like the WNBA is trying to keep even harmless posts in check if they might highlight something the league doesn't want out there. And it didn't stop at that. Right after launching her brand new podcast, she spoke directly about officiating. Not in some profane way, not attacking individual refs, just questioning if the standard of calls is consistent night to night. That's normal sports talk. You hear NBA players, NFL players, even college athletes sound off about officiating every single week. And usually the most that happens is a shrug from the league. Cunningham's words on that episode, they earned her a $1,500 fine. When you compare the weight of what she actually said to that punishment, it feels completely disproportionate. 3 times the TikTok fine on the very first episode, which for her was supposed to be about building a new platform to connect with fans. Now, the third strike is where things really start to feel intentional. Cunningham referenced Paige Buecher's.
But then, of course, the heavens opened, and she got traded to Caitlin Clark's team. By far the biggest stage in the league, thanks to Caitlin Clark. And did Sophie Cunningham...
I'm going to milk this for all it's worth. So, if you guys don't remember the old Twitter likes. So, Twitter likes used to be a big thing. Because people would like things on Twitter.
She quickly befriended Caitlin. That was smart. And she assumed the role of Caitlin's on-court and in interviews defender and protector or public defender.
What would happen is people would look through likes and they would call people out for their likes. And Elon obviously stopped that. But now we have a new closest thing. And it is the Sophie Cunningham,
who's still in college, saying she seems to get favorable calls. That's not even outrageous. It's the kind of talk fans debate all the time. But the reaction from the league was another fine, this time with no public number attached, just a penalty hanging out there, a warning shot. It's different when money's involved, because that sends a message that goes beyond a rule book. It tells the player, we're watching, and that message feels way bigger than whatever words actually came out of Cunningham's mouth. What makes this stand out even more is when fans point to other players. Take Kelsey Plum, for example. She's called out officiating before, questioning whether certain refs carry grudges, yet Plum hasn't faced the same kind of financial punishment. That hint of a double standard is why people are talking. Not because Cunningham went off the rails, but because it feels selective. If one player can vent publicly without a bill arriving in her locker and another gets charged thousands, then you can't chalk it up to league-wide policy. You start wondering if it's about who says it, when they say it, and what bigger story the league wants to protect. For Sophie, the bigger story looks like control. She frames the fines not as her mistakes, but as proof that the WNBA doesn't want transparency. She's not deleting her platform, she's doubling down. Basically saying if they're fining her, it means she's striking a nerve. Her fans are responding exactly how you'd expect. They're flooding her comments with support, praising her for saying what they think players are too afraid to admit. To them, she's not just another athlete on a podcast. She's the player living up to what fans want: honesty, personality, and someone willing to question the system. Every fine just adds fuel to that image. And here's where it really connects to the wider spotlight. Caitlin Clark is pulling all of the attention in her rookie year, filling arenas, shattering TV ratings, practically reshaping the market for women's basketball overnight.
Did that ever quickly endear her to Caitlin's, billions of fans out there? All those 22 wearing fans? Then, with the spotlight shining on Sophie.
the reposts. We saw some stuff from injuries. I don't even really know how TikTok works. So, in the reposts, Sophie Cunningham reposted a Rachel Demita TikTok.
100 times brighter than ever before. She started making grand entrances into arenas wearing spicy outfits, some of them pretty provocative and very cool.
I actually fully agree, Rachel Demita. The funniest thing is the amount of people you see on social media that are like, I've seen actual takes from people that don't know the difference between a...
That's the show the league wants to keep polished and flawless. Now imagine Cunningham, one of the most outspoken personalities in the WNBA, stirring up conversations about officiating flaws and preferential calls during the same period. It's almost impossible not to see a connection. Every fine against her feels like an effort to drown out any noise that could distract from Clark's star rise. So the pattern is clear. It's not about some harmless TikTok, and it's not really about rule enforcement. It's about the league trying to dictate the story around its players, even if that means silencing voices like Cunningham's. And the bigger question here is what happens next. Do players get beaten down into silence, or do they push harder to make the league listen? That fight might end up shaping the future of the WNBA more than any one rookie season or viral highlight. Sophie Cunningham keeps talking even while the fines pile up, and that alone shows how fragile the league's grip on its own story really is. Players usually stay quiet, but her voice keeps breaking through, and every penalty makes her message louder. The bigger question isn't even about Sophie anymore. It's about the WNBA deciding if it wants authentic, unfiltered voices that fans can connect to, or if it keeps shutting those voices down. Fans are already choosing sides in this fight, so here's the real test. Should the league silence players or finally let them be heard?